Hey guys, Fred and Sheila McCoy, Hatfield McCoy Museum. Should be a short video. Made some videos here lately, keeping it real, and this is going to be a keeping it real. And some of our keeping it real, or my part of the keeping it real videos, seems a little bit harsh. I'm sorry, I don't mean to come across like that, but you know, I see home videos, I see different things on YouTube of different people's families, and I think how sweet. And then it hits me that how sweet this other family would have been had they not been killed. How sweet this family would have been had this rumor not been started on their family. And so it equals out. I know sometimes it seems like I'm harsh, but you've got to put yourself in the position of the other families that's come up short on some of these made-up stories told on the Hatfields and McCoys, and the Kentucky McCoys mostly, and some of the Kentucky Hatfields even. Second of all, in that last video, we were moping around. For the last 3 or 4 days, I've done that with pain in my back, and we finally figured out. I kept saying, what happened? What did I do to my back? What did I do? It was from cleaning those tombstones the other day, where I was bending over. When I bend over and stay in a position for a while, it takes its toll. But for some reason, I didn't put that together. But
okay,
my back's doing better today.
Yeah.
This story here is going to be a keeping it real. Hatfield McCoy families come together for a reunion, September the 21st, 2022. Now guys, this is the News Express, Pikeville News Express. I'm going to tell you, there's a story on this. Go way back through Sheila's videos, and it's titled, they called the McCoys, he called the McCoys vermin. And it's the same story. Same story. I'm not going to do the entire story. I'm just going to touch on one subject here that Sheila and I have been researching since September the 21st of last year. And especially since we made that last video. We didn't want to elaborate on it a lot until we done our research. We've done our research. Our research is complete to the best of our, that we can find. We're hoping if we're wrong, and that's a good point. If you ever see one of our videos and we're incorrect or wrong on something, and you can show us in documentation or some kind of a provable way rather than your opinion, we all have opinions and we're all entitled to them. And that's why we have shut off the comments. We don't want people's opinions. We want evidence. You send us evidence, either email or text or whatever, and we'll correct our story. If we're wrong on anything, we don't want to be wrong. That's what we're trying to do, is correct history. This was the cover story for that paper, and what this is covering is the Hatfield McCoy reunion, September of 2022. Hatfield McCoy ancestors Ron McCoy left. Billy Keith Hatfield were among those who gathered in Pikeville this past weekend for the Hatfield McCoy Heritage Days Festival. First of all, my question would be, why do we only see Rio Hatfield, Billy Keith Hatfield, Bo McCoy, Ron McCoy? Why do we only see those people? Bob Scott, which he owns the property there at Blackberry, the old Randall McCoy home place. He has a reason to be there. That's a good, he's showing something. But these other people that's just standing there always shaking hands. You got 4 people shaking hands, patting each other on the back, praising each other. 4. 2 Hatfields, 2 McCoys. One of them from North Carolina, one from Georgia, one from Oklahoma, one from Virginia. Why don't we see any of these local Hatfields and McCoys? Why don't we see, we don't live there anymore, we live away. But we were born and raised in Pike County, but why don't we go there to celebrate with everybody? Why doesn't everybody that lives there go and celebrate? Where's the pictures at of this big reunion? Not 10 or 12, 15 people, mostly family members that come in from Oklahoma or Durham, North Carolina, so they can go back and show their schoolmates or classmates or employees, workers, that where they were at. Not 10 or 12 people. Where's the thousands and thousands of Hatfields and McCoys, especially the Kentucky Hatfields and McCoys? Where's the preacher aunt's Hatfield family at? Big Hatfield family. Basil Hatfield, Constable Floyd Hatfield, Bad Elias Hatfield's family. Where they all at? Why ain't they gathered at these reunions? That's a telltale sign. That's a clue that the Hatfields and McCoys that grew up on Blackberry or Pike County, we don't get into this nonsense. You have to bring a guy here from Oklahoma and a guy from Durham, North Carolina that says that they represent the Hatfields and McCoys. Now, I don't want to go down that road. I'm already drifting. And she's motioning. You all can tell that from my face. When you see me look and get all shrinched down, you know
now.
You know she's threatening me.
No, I'm not. I'm just trying to
no,
keep
you're
things
good, babe. You're good for the... This is Sheila's channel, and I'm glad that she allows me to express myself. I'm glad that I get to do this for history someday when I'm dead and gone, because somebody may find it interesting one day. Hatfield McCoy Heritage Days brought together members of the public as well as members of the famous feuding families gathered in Pikeville this past weekend to remember the history of their families and the community. William Billy Keith Hatfield, great-great-grandson of Devil Anse Hatfield, and Rob McCoy, great-great-great-grandson of Randolph McCoy, two of those who came to Pikeville for the event, said they have become friends and brothers in Christ. Brothers in Christ. No comment. No comment. Because there's people that's driven people away from Christ because of their actions and because of things that they do and say and hold their Bible there. And it's plumb disgusting. I won't go there. She's looking at me.
There you go. Good job.
Those vermin, the McCoys, horse-stealing, pig-kissing McCoys, started the feud, Hatfield said. Now, I cover this in the other video where it's titled, He Called Us Vermin or something. Go look at the entire video. But in that video, you're going to see where I hold up a newspaper article just like this, and it says 1911. William Keith Hatfield says, Life magazine came to see his grandfather in 1911. Life magazine. And he says, this is his own words, when Life came to see my great-grandfather, they said he was rich, religious, and respectable. And he was, Hatfield said. Sadly, my grandfather helped squander the wealth. I'm not going to get into that part. That's all I'm going to cover this story. This story, you can find it on the internet. It's no problem to find. Appalachian News Express, Hatfield and McCoy reunion. Sheila's going to post a bunch of pictures at the back of this. Some we've got the real, they're costly. But we've purchased a bunch over the years, 1911, not over the years, over the last year, since this story came out, 1911, Life magazine. You know, Life magazine, it's interesting. I could have my dates wrong. I was going to bring that upstairs here, but I think from 1882 to 1972. I could be incorrect on my dates. You can check. Because we at first thought it won't be hard to research. Life magazine didn't do but one magazine a month, so we've got to find 12 months of Life magazine to see where Devil Anse is at in there, and them stating that he was a rich man and religious man, and we only needed 12 issues, one a month. We were wrong. From 1882 to 1972, I think the dates, Life magazine put out a magazine weekly.
Sure.
That's 52 weeks in a year. That's 52 Life magazines during the year 1911.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Sheila's going to show you pictures of most of them. We've got found most of them, the majority of them, all but just a handful. There's no story on Devil Anse Hatfield in nary one. Not one. 1911, Life magazine that we could find. Is there a story on Devil Anse Hatfield? Now, William Keith here, the minister, says that his great-grandfather, was in Life magazine 1911 and bragging on how rich What a good man he was. Was that spoken into history? We think it was. I think it was. Sheila thinks it was. I mean, if there's no evidence to prove it's different, she's not going to present it like I do or come at you head on with it and just say it straight out. I don't think it exists. I think we've been hornswoggled. I think it was a lie. Now, William Keith Hatfield can make this real easy and prove me wrong. Well, like I said, we found most of them. There's a couple we haven't found. Maybe that's the one he's got. So, unless he's telling a fib, which true ministers, man of God, don't do, so it has to be out there. I see you, baby. I see you. I see you. Maybe it's a challenge. Maybe I'm challenging him to prove you right, okay? Sheila always looks for the good in people. Sheila looks for the good and says, oh, maybe he made a mistake. Maybe it's here. Maybe it's there. He's got it. No, there is no 1911 Life magazine that he so confidently told this news reporter that existed. It don't exist. Not 1911. Now, he can change his story later on, which I expect him to do, and he can do. That's changing your story. That's trying to, your backstroke. You said here, 1911, Life magazine. Please, William Keith Hatfield, in all respect, show us this Life magazine. First of all, we'd like to see it. Second of all, we'll know it exists, and we can buy one to put into the museum, the family can. Because we like to have anything Hatfield McCoy connected, especially when it's controversial. This is controversial right now. And if you show us one of these, then that's going to go on the wall and say, hey, we were corrected. We were corrected. We don't mind being corrected. That's just something else to add to the collection here the family's got. But I'll tell you what, if you don't correct us, it's also going to go on the board that it was a lie. See, something that's not truthful, Sheila says a fib, a mistake, a this, or that. No. When you tell somebody something and you know that it's not the truth when you tell it, but you're thinking, they'll never research it. They'll never check it. They haven't checked it in 135 years. Nobody's ever questioned us. West Virginia, Oklahoma, Virginia, Hatfields, nobody's ever questioned us. We can say any kind of story we want. We can say that a McCoy was in a brothel and a Hatfield, he was shot a Hatfield 3 times and the Hatfield turned and shot him and he was a McCoy. We can say that because nobody's ever going to check that history or research it. We can insult this family all these years. They'll never research it. No. Better watch. Maybe somebody research it. Maybe somebody that likes history and likes to do things like this. Especially when people come in here from other states. Again, it talks about all these people that gathered there. In this article, there's not one picture of this whole park, this whole downtown Pikeville, this whole Blackberry Fork. You may, during these things, you may see 10 to 12 people gathered around the well. Most of them's Rio, Ron, William Keith, and their families. That's some reunion to call that. Because I don't know of anybody that I grew up with back home, family members, Hatfield and McCoy, and I'm both, that goes to these. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe next year they'll show a big picture and they'll try to promote it real big and say, let's get as many as we can so we can prove Fred McCoy wrong. That's great. Do it, but show a picture of it. In the meantime, surely that's not the only picture they took of this reunion. So maybe this person, Crystal Rikoski, R-I-P-K-O-S-K-I, staff writer, maybe she can go back. I'm sure she's took more pictures than just these two. Maybe she can go back and show us this large crowd of people that attended this. Because, see, we don't believe it. We don't believe it. was going to be a short video. Sorry I drug it out, but I still seem to go negative. Guys, it's hard to not. I don't know how you correct a story. I don't know how you correct fibs and lies and not come out looking like, oh, he's negative. Oh, he's a troublemaker. Oh, he's an asshole. Oh, I don't know how you do that. I wish I did. I would love to stand here and smile and be like some of these Hatfields and these McCoys from other states, and she's looking at me, but I'd love to be able to stand there and shake hands with them and say, you're a snake in the grass. But you can't do that. That's not Fred McCoy's personality. Fred McCoy tell you straight. Yep. Like it or not.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get. I don't mean to be rude. I don't mean to be, but I think it's insulting to people, because I know there's a lot of people that believe that, and they say, oh, that's the nicest guy ever was. And they believe that. But there's also people out there like Fred McCoy. There's a lot of them out there that's skeptical, and they say, this ain't right. This ain't right. What he's saying is not true, but he's thinking that handshake and that smile or that Bible is going to change somebody's mind. And I'm sure it does on some. Guys, it's Fred and Sheila McCoy. She's going to put a bunch of papers at the back. She's going to put a bunch to show you the covers of all these. There's 52 copies. I think we've got like 47 of them. So, hey, there's a chance. You know, that old movie, whatever it is, where they said there's a chance. Well, 1 in a million. Said, ask that girl, will you go out with me? She said, there's 1 in a million. Dumb and Dumber. She said, is there a chance? She said, 1 in a million. He said, oh, okay, so you're saying there's a chance. Well, we got 47 copies, I believe. Show us that copy of 1911 Life magazine. Thank you. Guys, what we're going to do, this is covers of Life magazine. They're in no particular order. I'm going to lay them down here one at a time. You guys look at them. You may go find it on the internet yourself. And this one here is January 1911. Now remember, how many weeks was in January that year? 4 or 5 weeks. That would be the amount of Life magazines. January 1911. January 1911, January 1911, February 1911, February 1911, February 1911. And as we're going through these, you can see the dates at the bottom. I'm not going to call all of them off. We're beginning March here, March. And these are all Life magazines, at least the covers to the Life magazine for that year. Now, there's nowhere that I found, looking through all of these, now we're going into April. Life magazine, 1911, April. Now we're going into May. And again, these are the magazine covers, but nowhere could I find on any of these magazines where Devil Anse Hatfield was inside, or there was an article on Devil Anse Hatfield for that year. 1911. 1911. That's June we're down to. June. This keeps her from taking pictures. And here's July. 1911. Sometimes I say 1011. My eyesight probably didn't have my glasses on when I was doing that. There we are to August. But this is just to show you guys the kind of research and the amount of research. There's 1011, so instead of hitting the 9, I've hit the 0, but it's 1911. And this goes to show you guys what kind of research Sheila and I try to do to prove our points. And the amount of time that we put into this in order to prove a person wrong or to prove something right. In this case, we're trying to prove that what William Keith Hatfield said, that Devil Anse was in a Life magazine, we're trying to prove him right. We're giving him the benefit of the doubt. We're trying to look at every Life magazine from 1911 and find Devil Anse. We're unable to do that. We are unable to find, we got September out of line there, but it went all the way down to December. Now, so here once again, that's going to conclude this video. But that shows you the amount of work, the amount of research that Sheila and I tried to do in order to prove something one way or the other. If everybody that's researching the Hatfield-McCoy feud would have done that throughout the years, the Hatfield-McCoy history and everything, and if they told the truth about it, wouldn't be nowhere near as messed up and mixed up and falsified and fabricated.
Yeah.
It's Fred and Sheila McCoy. Thanks for joining us. And I ain't got nothing else to say. I was going to apologize for my being so passionate, but I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to apologize. This is my family. I have the right to Hatfield and McCoy. I have the right to speak up for my family name. This is not Jay Shepard. This is not these other people that writes these stories. People don't understand why you get so upset over that. That's not, I'm not out here writing stories on other people's families or fabricating stories. I don't think. Thanks. Hey guys, just a quick add-on. I wanted to make something clear. When she was uploading the video, I was listening to it and heard a comment. And I'm talking about William Keith says that that Devil Anse was rich and all that, but he says that his grandfather squandered the wealth. His grandfather, he says, is Tennis Hatfield. That would have been William Keith's grandfather, according to him. Now, once again, I'm not going to get on this DNA trip, but to this day, a lot of the Hatfields have not taken, since they was doing this research on the Devil Anse's DNA and something come up wrong with the Y part of it. You can't get nobody to take a DNA. So to this day, to my knowledge, William Keith's never even taken a DNA to prove, even though he represents Pike County tourism and so forth, him or Ron McCoy or any of them, as far as I know. I could be wrong. I hope I am, and I hope we can see one. But none of them's taken DNA to actually show and prove who they are, unlike some of the rest of us. My point is, he says that his grandfather squandered the wealth. His grandfather, Tennis Hatfield, supposedly his grandfather, is also definitely the grandfather of Stephen Hatfield. Stephen Hatfield downstairs in the far corner, that's where we've got the big thing with the warrant. That come from Stephen Hatfield. That was the original warrant for Devil Anse. Stephen Hatfield, the hat, the gun belt, different things that we got from Stephen Hatfield over the years. Stephen Hatfield lived there. He didn't live in Oklahoma. He didn't live in North Carolina. He lived at Sarah Ann. In fact, we've got a video where Sheila's behind on a bunch of our videos where she only puts out one a day, which is a job in itself. But eventually you'll see Stephen's home place where we used to go visit Stephen and Debbie before they passed away. But Stephen is the son of Handsome Jack Hatfield, which was also Tennis's son. So Tennis was Stephen's grandfather as well. Nobody knew the history of his grandfather or great-grandfather, Devil Anse, like Stephen Hatfield. Nobody. And he would tell it like it was. I don't know where I was going to with this, but I just wanted to make where these people says, yeah, well, okay. I wanted to make the point where people says that they're kin to this person or they're kin to that person. There's all kinds of relation out there. There's all kinds of relation to Devil Anse Hatfield at Sarah Ann and Omar and Island Creek. There's all kinds. You don't have to go all the way to Oklahoma. Why is it they're coming in from Oklahoma and Virginia and North Carolina? I'm not going to name some of these people because they may not want me to, but there's some good people, good Hatfields. One of them's directly across from the Hatfield Cemetery, owns that little piece of property there. A lot of times when you come off the hill at the Hatfield Cemetery, he'll be over there working or piddling around. Nice gentleman. There's all kinds of relations. It's not that that's the only Hatfield you can find of supposedly of Devil Anse's relation that you can get your history from. There's people back there that actually tell the truth, that don't call McCoy's names, jokingly or not jokingly. Say what you want. You did it. You can't go back and say, oh, it was just a joke. I'm not going to stand here. I insult Devil Anse Hatfield because he was a deserter and a murderer and an instigator. And the rest of them, Cap Hatfield, man, he would fight. Jim Vance would fight. I'm not going to drag this out. I wanted to say that Stephen Hatfield was also the great grandson of Devil Anse Hatfield. Stephen Hatfield was the grandson of Tennis Hatfield. Stephen Hatfield's where we got a lot of our Hatfield, Island Creek Hatfield, Devil Anse souvenirs and artifacts and memorabilia from, along with another Hatfield fella. So this is, Stephen had a lot of history, a lot of knowledge, and unlike some people that just makes it up as they go, we called Sarah Sally. They beat the hell out of Sarah. They beat her and left her for dead. And Jim McCoy was a peacemaker. Jim McCoy didn't like the West Virginia Hatfields that murdered. Read the article, watch that video. I'll never forgive them for what they did to me and mine until every one of them's held accountable. That's what he said.
Yep.
In the end, he shook hands with Tennis Hatfield, which was a young boy, a kid. That's one of the boys you see sitting on the front. That's Stephen Hatfield's grandfather that you see in the famous downstairs. That you see in the famous photo down there. He's mad because they didn't let him hold a gun like a couple of the other ones. He's one of the little boys sitting there in front with the little hat on. That's Tennis Hatfield at that time. That was Stephen Hatfield's grandfather. Anyway, Sheila's going to join this little bitty, and this is an add-on, and then she'll put the closing at the end of this. So, sorry, hope it's not too long. Thanks.
Hi guys, hope you're having a great day. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Thank y'all.